shaking that ass.
Oh, na, na, na. Put your hands in the air if you're loving tonight. Oh, na, na, na. Keep your hands in the air if you're spending the night. Oh, na, na, na. Oh, na, 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 na.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm trying to make this video short. Today I'll be making loaded mac and my wings. So I started off by adding my pasta and broccoli to boiling water to get that started off so I can get everything else prepared while that's being prepared. I'm really excited because I really do love a good mac and cheese. I don't like stovetop mac and cheese. I don't like when my mac and cheese is liquidy, so I always bake it. So today I will be making a baked mac. So I started off by placing out some aluminum foil because I forgot my placemat to season my chicken wings. So I usually for chicken wings, I use like garlic salt, adobo, maybe if I have Maggi seasoning. It all depends, but I keep it super simple. You can even use salt and pepper if you want to keep it that simple. It's all the same. And I also use paprika because I love spice and paprika adds good flavor. So I make sure I pat it in, rub it under the skin on both sides just to make sure the flavor goes all the way through, because this time I didn't get a chance to marinate the chicken, so I want to make sure there's as much flavor as is possible. Usually I would have made my classical wings that I always make for my friends and family, but I decided I wouldn't share that recipe, but I would share an equally good recipe. My other recipe, I feel like that's something I would want to pass down to my kids one day, or someone special, I guess. But I just didn't think I would post it on my page because it's I worked on the sauce for those wings for over 2 years, which is kind of ridiculous, but it's really special. So I made sure I seasoned these wings properly, rubbed it in under the skin on both sides, because I will be frying these in just some regular canola oil, and sometimes the seasonings tend to fall off into the oil. So I made sure I put an adequate amount of seasoning on both sides. So I just add my canola oil to the pan and let that heat up. Then while that's heating up, I started seasoning my shrimp for my loaded mac and cheese on both sides. I use mostly the same basic seasonings because, as I said, I'm keeping myself under a budget and I'm trying to use less salt. If you notice, the only salt I use is the garlic salt, which adds flavor, and garlic powder at the same time, so I don't add any salt to the rest of my food. After my shrimp was adequately seasoned, it was time to remove the pasta and the broccoli from the stove because both the pasta and the broccoli were already cooked. Then I added the shrimp to the oil because I wanted to do the shrimp before I did the chicken, and it wouldn't really affect the flavor of the chicken if I was supposed to use the same oil. Because when I put the shrimp in the oven on the mac and cheese, I want to make sure they're cooked and have a little crispiness, because that's what I like personally. But you don't have to do that. You can just mix the shrimp into your mac and cheese and it'll be perfectly fine. So I just got them brown on both sides a little. As you can see, shrimp cook very quickly, so I ended up turning them very quickly. They got really brown and that almost caramel brown look. And I could smell it at this point. It was smelling so good. I had to turn down the heat because the oil was popping a lot and I wasn't trying to get burn scars all over my arms. So I turned it down a little because the shrimp would be cooked in a minute anyway. So just let that sit there and get a little crisp on both sides. Removed my shrimp, reheated the oil, and it was time to fry my chicken. So I started adding them one by one. If you notice, I kind of stepped back from the stove because I didn't realize how hot the oil was and it was popping. You can see right now how much the oil was popping, so I had to turn it down a little because I have several burns all over my hands, which is ridiculous, and I don't need any more. So So I put the drums in first because I like to fry those separately because they take a little bit more time to fry than the flats. That's just what I think. There's like no science behind this. So I just leave those in the pot, and it's time to mix my baked mac, which is like absolute my favorite part. So I let the pasta and the broccoli drain. I'm like stuttering. And then I start adding like my ingredients. I add mozzarella cheese. I add some seasonings to this. I added adobo, paprika, and a pinch of ginger. I just think that adds a really good flavor. I really love ginger, if you haven't noticed. And then I mix it all together. And since the pasta and the broccoli are still warm, the cheese gets a little bit melted. So that aids in the process. So as you can see, I started adding my adobo. It looks like a lot, but it's really not. The holes on the top are really small. I added adobo just for flavor, paprika, same thing, just for flavor, because no one likes plain pasta. And I mix it all together. And there's also something that I add in it to help the consistency. If you can guess what it is, it's the white cream you'll see me adding in very soon. If you can guess what it is, like, I'll follow you on all your on all your socials, I guess. Yeah. And for all of you that are like, what is she doing? Like, why is she adding this white mystery paste to the mac and cheese? But like, someone that I really look up to, a chef, taught me this trick, and it is so delicious. You don't have to add it. Your mac and cheese will be just as delicious, because at the end I still add an egg and some milk and a splash of heavy cream to thicken it up, because I will be baking it. I don't like mac and cheese that makes the sound. Like, I find that completely disgusting. I don't like box mac and cheese because I think I'm bougie. Like, not necessarily bougie, but I'm just not a fan of like box mac and cheese or stovetop mac and cheese. I don't like mac and cheese that's creamy and that has like a cheese sauce consistency, because that's just my personal preference, and that's just the way it is. This is how I make my mac and cheese. Obviously, I'm open to new ideas. If you can make me stovetop mac and cheese or creamy mac and cheese and I enjoy it, I will pay you. I will honestly pay you. So you see, I added it to my metal tin. At this point, I could still hear my chicken sizzling, and the kitchen was like filled with the aroma of like crispy, juicy, like well seasoned chicken. And if you notice, I don't use a whole lot of seasoning, so it's not very complicated to do anything that you see me doing here. The whole point of this page is to help people out if you don't know how to cook, how to make really delicious meals without overextending yourself. It's super simple. So I started patting this down, make sure it's set good like ice in a freezer, and then something there. And then I decided to add my shrimp on top. I didn't add a lot of shrimp because I didn't want to take the flavor away from the broccoli and the cheese. Broccoli and cheese is so good by itself. Plus, it's all mixed up in macaroni, so I just added like 4 large shrimp on top just to balance it all off. You can see me moving these shrimps like a million times just to make sure like it was aesthetically pleasing to the eye. Then I finished it off on top with extra mozzarella just to cover the shrimp. They're still peeking out, but just so that when I put it in the oven, like a crust will form around that, and it would be so beautiful. This is what I was talking about previously, where I add an egg, a splash of milk, and a tiny splash of heavy cream just to help the consistency. because I want it all to be like bonded together but still creamy. I just mix this together, make sure the yolk is fully whisked out, and I pour it over my mac and cheese so I can just stick it in the oven and it'll come out beautifully. It's very important that you're consistent with your pours. Make sure it goes all the way through on both sides and in the center, because you don't want too much of that egg mixture in one place because it'll make the consistency weird. And I saved a few pieces of broccoli to add to the top at the end just for aesthetic purposes. Now you see that my chicken has been crispening up. I added the flats. Chicken has crispened. I put in the flats. It's time to make my sauce. So this is the cheapest sauce I've ever made. I had a few hot sauce packets in my room. I had some sugar that I use for tea. So that's what you see me adding in. Hot sauce and sugar. Just to make like a sweet, spicy sauce that would be like super like sticky for the wings. And it will balance with the salty, savory flavors that I had for the wings that I already fried in the pan. Then I added honey, ginger, and a small pinch of garlic salt, just for balance. Adding paprika because I'm completely obsessed with paprika. I have no clue why. It's probably because I got it for like $3, so I just use it all the time. Then I add water to like combine all of these. Then I put it on the stove, let that come to a boil. Now you can see the finished product of my juicy wings. Like, look at that. Look at that. Here's a quick checkup on my mac and my sauce. Now you see that my sauce has been on the stove on medium heat for a while. It's time to pour it over my juicy chicken. I let the sauce come down to almost a consistency of like a really thick, what's that thing called? You put it on pancakes. You have it with like bacon and eggs. Maple syrup, like a really thick maple syrup. And I'm gonna stick these in the oven just so they get sticky and gooey and they soak in the sauce. So like at the end it will be like the perfect balance of oh yeah and hell yeah. Okay, you can already see that these have already come out beautifully from pan frying, and like adding this sauce is just gonna take them to a different level. And if you notice, this was all super easy. We're almost to the end of this meal. This meal didn't take me more than basically like an hour and 15 minutes, to be honest. It was super quick, super easy, and like we all know it's gonna be delicious at the end. So here you can see me poking the chicken just so like there's like little holes so it absorbs the sauce. There's my finger. And yeah, I stuck these in the oven. You can see where my mac has come out beautifully. Both of these were in the oven for like a combination of like 30 minutes. It was super easy. And yeah, if you notice, this meal came out beautifully. Thank you for coming to my channel, and I just want you to know that these meals are super quick and super easy, and you can do it too. All right, have a blessed week. Stay lit, eat good, and stay on the budget.
Many hungry days me used to face, me can't forget. Me cure them soon up, so me a go one more parking spot. No I ain't up on the rocks when me a roll out on the yacht. Girl, they a plus.